Hey guys, it's National Master Aaron Cooper here again with another game review video. This was a game from last night's stream where I was playing viewers, and I'm playing Sarhane, a loyal viewer to our channel. He's a 2200 player, very strong player, and we played 10 minutes with 0-second increment. So let's check it out. We pick up the action after knight to e7, move 18. It was a Juco piano, and I brought my queen's knight over to the king side like so, which is a common maneuver in both the Juco piano and Roy Lopez openings. Now here, I decided to play g4. If I were to do this again, I would have played queen to g4. We could have had something like this. The queens come off. Yes, pieces do come off, but what's left? I have two bishops. I'm opening up the f-file. Pardon me, opening up the f-file. Should have some good pressure in that endgame. But I decided to play g4. And Sarhane took. Queen to h3. And now there's pressure on h3, so I have to trade the queens. And we have this endgame here. So I achieve my f4, and we have a critical decision coming up at this point. I have the two bishops, have more space. Black's king is cut off from the bishop. Lots of good things for white. Now, the key is, do I take the knight or do I keep my two bishops? Well, during the game I was concerned about d5. It's obvious that that's what black is trying to achieve. And unfortunately, I didn't assess correctly. So what I should do here, well, first I played a5 in the game, just to kick the bishop back. But now I should play bishop to b3. So that after d5, we have takes, rook to e2. Now during the game I was a little concerned about d4. It's not a big deal though, because I can just push with c4, and I'm going to have some dominance on the e-file plus the two bishops. This should be very good for white. So for example, if black tries to challenge, we just double up, and we are going to own the e-file. Black would ideally like to trade off one of the bishops with this move, but unfortunately right here that drops the d-pawn. Okay. So in the game, I took the knight and wedged the bishop in on the e6 square. So now we have opposite colored bishops, and anytime you have opposite colored bishop games, it can be challenging for the defensive side. And the reason for that is that the dark squared bishop cannot attack on the light squares, and vice versa. My bishop cannot attack on the dark squares. So you'll see in the game how I'm able to win some of black's pawns because his bishop just can't help in the defense of those pawns. So let's see what happens. So right here I fix the d-pawn on a light square. I should be able to scoop up that d-pawn. Now there is a threat. Good move by Sarhane. This is the threat I can't take back because of the pin on the king. So I protect the bishop. Have to protect the pawn. It's being attacked by the rook. And we do some shuffling here. And finally, I do get my king over to d3. Okay. So I've improved the position of my king. Position is centralized. It's also helping out the defense of the c3 pawn. Now white is ready to double up and infiltrate on the e-file. Like so. Now I decided that it's logical to trade rooks, because I felt after trading the rooks I would be able to focus on the d-pawn and win it. During the game, I didn't want to exchange the rooks because we're taught a lot of the opposite colored bishop endgames where it's just the bishops and pawns left on the board. Those tend to be highly drawish, although in this instance I think this is winning. I'm going to be able to pick off these pawns and most likely this pawn, and then my pawns will be rolling. Unfortunately, black, because of my G pawn, it's not so easy to advance his pawns. So this could have been a path to a win for me. So in the game, I played rook e8, going after the d pawn, like so. Now black could play rook to d6. I was planning to play this move. Only way to defend the pawn is rook d7. But then we get this endgame, which is similar to what I spoke about earlier. I'm going to pick off these pawns. That should be an easy win for white. So I win the d-pawn, and you'll notice the black bishop just wasn't able to help defend the d-pawn, nor is it able to defend these pawns. So now I want to move my pawns up the board. I've got two connected pass pawns right here. We're going to trade off the A pawns. Now this was an important moment. I played king e2. I missed an idea during the game. Normally we want to go up the board, but I thought during the game there's check, and then black has this nice trick. Rook takes d4 check. And this is a bishops of opposite colored endgame that is drawn because black will sack their bishop for my pawn, and white will do the same. That's a dead draw. However, after check, we don't go to d5, we go to e5. The same trick doesn't work. This time it's not check. White is not obliged to take. We actually have a mate on the board, bishop f5, followed by rook h7. So I missed that, so I decided to come back. And this is a very nasty pin on the bishop. Sooner or later, black is going to have to trade off the rooks because they want to move that bishop eventually. Sarhani decides to do it right away. And this is a winning bishops of opposite colored endgame. Black's king just not going to be able to help. And unfortunately, the bishop is on this diagonal. There's not enough squares, so I can bring my king over just to attack the bishop. Now the bishop has to leave the diagonal, and then I'll be able to play c7 and c8 because the bishop is helping support that. Now Sarhani played on. We were both low of time here, but after this position, my opponent resigned. So there you go, an important example of how bishops of opposite color in endgames or queenless middle games, how the attacking side can use their bishop to their advantage and make it difficult for the defensive side. So what you want to do is you want to put pawns on the color of your bishop because your opponent's bishop won't be able to defend because it's on the opposite color, right? All right, so if you like that, like our video, subscribe to our channel, send us a comment and give us some feedback. Always trying to improve. And until next time, guys, happy chessing.